This is the all-new Galaxy S25 Ultra, Samsung's flagship. And here is the Pixel 9 Pro, which is what Google wants you to think about when you think Android. In this video, I'll pit them against each other to help you decide which one to buy and which is best for you. And so without taking much of your time, yo guys, let's get started. Both of these devices feel premium as held in the hand, but there are some key differences. The Galaxy S25 Ultra has the classic refreshed Samsung Ultra design, a squared-off slab with titanium frame, and Gorilla Armor 2 glass on both sides. It's sleek, it's refined, and it still comes with the iconic S Pen tucked inside. But they did kill off the Bluetooth support feature on the S Pen this year, which means no more remote shutter or air gesture on this S Pen. That's kinda sad, but we move. Now the Pixel 9 Pro is rocking a more rounded and polished look. With an aluminum frame and Gorilla Glass Victus 2, it still keeps the signature camera visor, which means no wobbling when you place it on a table. And honestly, the camera bump on the S25 Ultra still rattles around when you tap on it on a flat surface. Now that's not a deal breaker, but just something to note. Both of these devices have IP68 water and dust resistance, and both feel premium. While the S25 Ultra is a big boy in the hand, the Pixel 9 Pro isn't. It's one of the best devices to have in your hand, and if you want the bigger alternative, you can go for the Pixel 9 Pro XL, which is about the same thing but in a bigger chassis, bigger battery and screen. So, which one wins for me here? Despite loving the Pixel 9 Pro so much as far as its aesthetics, I can actually see a lot of reasons why I would go with the S25 Ultra, starting with the better build, the S Pen, the better sounding speakers, the bigger battery life, and also the amazing display. In general, most people would objectively pick the S25 Ultra. When it comes to displays, Samsung flexes hard, and the S25 Ultra is no exception. It's a massive 6.9-inch dynamic LTPO AMOLED panel with a peak brightness of 2600 nits. And if you've ever tried using a smartphone outdoors on a sunny day, you know that extra brightness comes in clutch. Plus, the Gorilla Armor 2 glass reduces reflections like crazy, making it one of the best displays for outdoor visibility. But let's not sleep on the Pixel 9 Pro. It's got a 6.3-inch LTPO OLED panel with a slightly higher peak brightness of 3000 nits. That's insane. The only downside here is that the Pixel's display is more reflective, so even though it's brighter, it doesn't always look better outdoors compared to the Samsung's anti-glare coating. Both devices have 120Hz refresh rate, both are sharp, and both are OLED displays, so colors pop beautifully. But I'm going to give this win to the Samsung because of that anti-reflective glass, and that's a game changer. The resolution is higher and the Gorilla Glass Armor 2 has superior scratch resistance. Now let's talk about the raw power. The Galaxy S25 Ultra comes with the Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset, Samsung's custom overclocked version for their phones. This thing is a beast, it scored over 2 million on Antutu, and when it comes to gaming with this smartphone, it absolutely flies, keeping a solid 60 FPS even on demanding titles like Genshin Impact at the max settings. The Pixel 9 Pro on the other hand is running Google's custom Tensor G4 chip, which, let's be real, is not as powerful as the Snapdragon. In fact, the Tensor G4 isn't as powerful as the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 from the S24 Ultra. That doesn't mean it's a bad chipset. It's fine for everyday tasks, but if you're a heavy gamer, you will notice far less stutters or frame drops in more demanding games when running apps simultaneously on the S25 Ultra. Where it shines though is AI. Google has packed this thing with AI features that actually feel useful. Real-time transcriptions, AI-powered call screening, and even cloud-based 8K upscaling for videos. In fact, Google has worked closely with Samsung to integrate a lot of these features, including Gemini, which is now available on a lot of Android devices. If you use AI features daily, the Pixel might just be the smarter choice. But let's keep it real. If you care more about raw power and gaming, Samsung wins this one. Alright, this is where things get spicy. The Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra has a 200 megapixel main camera, a 50 megapixel ultra wide, a 10 megapixel 3x telephoto, a 50 megapixel 5x periscope zoom lens, and Samsung is giving you all the options here. The Pixel 9 Pro on the other hand takes a different approach. It gets you a 50 megapixel main sensor, a 48 megapixel ultra wide, and a 48 megapixel periscope telephoto lens with 5x optical zoom. The main cameras on both devices have different color profiles. The Google Pixel 9 Pro leans into natural tones, while the S25 Ultra goes for a slightly more vivid look. Though Samsung has toned down its oversaturation from previous years. When I shot a human subject, the Pixel nailed the skin tones, but there was an odd magenta tint in the sky that the S25 Ultra didn't have. In portrait mode, I really wanted the Pixel to win. I did. But the S25 Ultra had better edge detection, especially for the hair. Plus, Samsung brightened up the subject a bit more, making portraits pop. The Pixel does have a 2x zoom in portrait mode by default, though you can switch to 1.5x, but you can't shoot portraits at the standard focal length. The S25 Ultra, you can shoot at 3x or the regular focal length, which gives you a lot more flexibility. For the colors, they are sometimes similar and you'd be happy with either, but if you pay attention, you always notice the magenta tints on the Pixel for some reason. At this point, it's just a style thing, I'd say. The ultra-wide cameras stay consistent with their main cameras in terms of the color signs, but the S25 Ultra has a wider field of view for the ultra-wide lens, which has been upgraded to a 50 megapixel this year, and that's close to the 48 megapixel on the Pixel. For zooms, at 2x, both devices match their main cameras, while at 3x, the S25 Ultra starts showing more detail, and at 5x, the difference isn't that huge, but the S25 Ultra edges ahead. Weirdly enough, I prefer the color and contrast on the Pixel at 10x. The computational photography really shines here. For rare videos, the Pixel is no match for the S25 Ultra. Samsung handles exposure, brightness, and color reproduction better, giving you an overall better appealing footage. For the front cameras, you get a 12 megapixel sensor on the S25 Ultra and a wider sensor that is 42 megapixels on the Pixel, which is great and better for getting more persons in frame. For photos here, both are fine, but when it comes to having colors pop and more details, I'd give it to the Pixel, but that doesn't mean the Samsung is bad. The biggest difference in selfies is portrait mode. Samsung separates the subject from the background better. The S25 Ultra's video has better detail and brightness, but I prefer the Pixel's skin tones. You can tweak Samsung's settings to match the Pixel, but it takes effort. Generally, the well-balanced camera would be the Samsung and would be the device to pick here, but for just photos, especially for the selfies, I'd go with the Pixel 9 Pro. The S25 Ultra packs a 5000 mAh battery, while the Pixel 9 Pro has a slightly smaller 4700 mAh cell. In real-world use, both last a full day easily, but Samsung pulls ahead in gaming, endurance, and if you're a power user, you get slightly better battery life on the Samsung, especially considering the fact that you're getting this super efficient chipset on this device. Now, talking of charging, Samsung supports 45 watts wire charging, while the Pixel maxes out at 27 watts. But here's the kicker. The Pixel charges faster wirelessly with this 21 watts Pixel stand as opposed to the 15 watts wireless charging speeds on the Galaxy. So if you're all about wireless charging, the Pixel is the better choice, but you have to get the Pixel stand. Otherwise, Samsung wins with the wired speeds. Both smartphones promise 7 years of update, which is fantastic. Samsung has One UI 7, which is loaded with features, but can feel bloated at times. Google's Pixel UI is clean, fast, and straight to the point. So if you love a pure Android experience, Pixel wins hands down. AI is also a major part for both of these devices. Now, Samsung has its Galaxy AI features like AI-based GIF generation or creation and device AI transcriptions. Pixel has Google's Gemini AI, which feels smarter overall, especially with things like call screening, circle to search, also here, and real-time translations. AI is still kind of gimmicky for a lot of people, but if you're big on automation and smart features, the Pixel does it better. I don't really think AI should be one of the reasons you pick one over the other, by the way. Now here's where it gets interesting. The Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra starts at $1299 or 2,030,000 naira, while the Pixel 9 Pro is just $999, $1,000 or about 1.5 million naira. So here's how it works. If you want the absolute best hardware, gaming performance, and zoom capabilities, and even one of the most amazing cameras I've ever gotten on a smartphone, arguably top 3, then get the Samsung. But if you want a clean software experience, better AI, and maybe the sort of still photography that a lot of people will love out of the box, then the Pixel is a better deal since you'll be saving about $300. Personally, I'd rather pay the extra cash to get the faster processor, the S Pen, better videos, and same amount of updates. So what do you think? Are you team Samsung or team Pixel? Let me know in the comment section below, and check out how the S25 Ultra compares to the iPhone 16 Pro Max here or the Vivo X200 Pro here. Catch you in the next one. Day.